Dear friends, we are now at day 17, and today we reflect on Joseph most chaste. Pray for us. I think this is one of the prerogative, the most beautiful prerogative of Saint Joseph, to be the chaste spouse and most chaste spouse. So the most chaste spouse that you can imagine. First of all, let me say that to be chaste does not mean to renounce love. You can be madly in love with a person and have no physical relationship with that person. Look, for instance, at God. You are madly in love with God even though you don't have any physical relationship. You are madly in love with your friend. You are madly in love sometimes with your dog or cat. So there are many ways in which you can be madly in love. And I have to say that many times this type of love, which is above the physical relationship, can be so strong that can almost give light and mission to your life, the whole life. Look, for instance, missionaries. Look, for instance, at even astronauts or people who are searching, people who are trying to discover the universe. So it sometimes, this type of love is involving the whole life. Now I want you to think about the deep, pure love of Joseph for Mary. I think that the physical love would have diminished the love of Mary and Joseph. Actually, probably would have been stopped the beautiful love between Mary and Joseph. Even humanly speaking, they had so deep feelings for each other and so much love. And at the same time, they were so chaste, so pure, that nothing came in between them. So it is important to see that as much as we have the most chaste spouse, Mary, then we need a most chaste spouse, Joseph. Because, Mary was immaculate. So she didn't have any lust in her body or in her soul. So even Joseph was the same with her without any type of lust and physical attraction. So it was a very beautiful, pure love. And this, to me, is important because it goes right to the heart of our faith, to the heart of our life. To be pure, it means that you have to have a chaste heart. Everything that you have in your heart must be totally pure, totally divine. And it is important for us to understand, especially nowadays, where the purity of heart, the purity of body is not really appreciated in our world today. And maybe that's why we cannot really see God. You remember Jesus says, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." Then we have to ask Saint Joseph to give us his type of love. To love the way of Saint Joseph, to love even both between husband and wife, even though there is a physical relationship, but that type of love which we see in Saint Joseph must be present also in all people, single, married, religious, lay. Everybody have to develop that deep sense, pure love. And let me say that it is a battle because, especially in our world today, that virtue is not appreciated. That virtue is considered nothing. Actually, in certain schools, they teach you to go against that virtue because, according to them, it's not human. But remember that even the human love without this spiritual love of Saint Joseph is something very, very common, very ordinary, very low. Our human love needs that spiritual love. And we have to ask Saint Joseph because he was fully taken by that type of love. Men today must learn to love like Saint Joseph. It is important to know that they need to imitate the chaste heart of Saint Joseph. The world needs men to love their wives as Saint Joseph loved Mary. If men reverence their wives as holy temples, beautiful, huh? Families will be renewed, dragons will be slain, and the evils of our age that attack the dignity of the human person will be overcome. I think if we want to reestablish the real dignity of the family, we need absolutely the love of Saint Joseph. As a second point, I'd like to talk about today the Holy House of Loreto. This is a beautiful story, and permit me to tell you that even though it is a little bit long, but it is the holiest house in the world is in Italy, in Loreto. And I have to say that I went to see it. I touched it. I touched that wall, those little room where Mary, Joseph, and Jesus spent most of their lives. And let me tell you, why is it in Italy? Why is it not in Nazareth? So the history tells us that that house of the Holy Family, on May the 10th, 1291, suddenly disappeared from Nazareth. And nobody knew what happened. Only the foundation of that house remained. And then, as Anne Catherine Emmerich spoke in this mystical vision, she says that there were 7 angels who brought that house from Nazareth to a place in Croatia which is called Srat. 7 angels, 3 one side, 3 the other side, and 1 in front to lead. So it's beautiful to see how this house all of a sudden took off, disappeared from Nazareth, and appeared in Croatia, so that in 1291 arrived in Croatia. In 1294, again, the house from Croatia went to Italy. First of all, in a little town close to Loreto. But then, when finally it landed there in where it is today in Loreto, Italy. Why was it taken away from Nazareth? So remember, 1291, the house disappeared. 1294, the Muslim destroyed completely Nazareth. So we can see there the plan of God to save that beautiful house where the Son of God spent his life. So then, it says in 1294, arrived in Croatia. And then in, 1291, a few months later, from Croatia went to Piceno, which is a town close to Loreto. And there remained for 8 months. And after that, disappeared again and appeared in Loreto, where today is located. Why did he go away from Piceno? It's because the place where that house landed was belonged to 2 brothers, and they start fighting to claim who had the authority, the ownership of that house. So it says immediately appeared in their farm. So then, because of this, I would say, sin of these 2 brothers fighting, then the house, the sacred house, went to Loreto, where these, even today, it is right there. Now, the Pope immediately wanted to find out why. And so he established a commission. He appointed 16 envoys to investigate everything. What did they find is very interesting, that the precise measurement of the foundation in Nazareth are equal to the measurement of the foundation that was in Croatia, And it is the same foundation that is in Loreto. So it is really the same house, which appeared both in Croatia and in Loreto today. So then immediately they start building for protection a big church. And after 3 years, the actual basilica of the little house is what we see today in Loreto. Now, why is this important? Yeah, because that's the place where the incarnation took place. There are historical proofs that that house was the house of Mary, because then we are going to talk about the shop of Joseph. That was the house of Joseph. When Mary and Joseph got married, Mary received the house from St. Anne. She received the house where Joseph came to live. And only about 100 yards away, there was the house of Joseph, which he transformed into his own shop. So even today, if you go to Nazareth, you'll see that the house of Mary, which is the Basilica of Annunciation, and then about 100 yards further up, you see the shop of St. Joseph, which used to be the house of Joseph. So I don't give you here all the list of all the popes and the saints who went to visit the house of Loreto. And you know, even today is considered a pontifical privileged shrine where you have a bishop just for that shrine, like in Guadalupe, like in Naples, like in Medjugorje. You have a bishop directly sent by the Pope in order to oversee and to lead so many millions of people that go to visit. So that beautiful little house is incredibly precious because it was the house where Joseph, Mary, and Jesus lived most of their lives. I have to say that I went into this house and I really felt so good. I touched those walls that I'm sure were touched by Jesus, by Joseph and Mary. It is something so beautiful that we luckily today, after 2,000 years, we still have the faith and the grace, the privilege to touch and to see. Bye-bye.